If you're counting on public service loan forgiveness or PSLF, you'll want to watch this. Less than 1% of borrowers counting on forgiveness under PSLF have received it. What exactly is going on? Why are so few borrowers getting forgiveness under PSLF? Stay tuned. Let's start the conversation by reviewing the rate of forgiveness. First, let's look at the number of borrowers who applied for forgiveness and the categories they were sorted into. While less than 1% have actually received loan forgiveness, a little over 1% have been approved for loan forgiveness but haven't had their loans discharged yet. There have been just over 41,000 unique borrowers who have applied for public service loan forgiveness. Of those unique borrowers, 423 applications have been approved for forgiveness. But only 206 borrowers have actually had their student loan debt completely discharged. The amount of student loan debt forgiven under the program is $12.32 million. All of these statistics were updated by the Department of Education at the end of September of 2018. That basically represents the very first year of public service loan forgiveness eligibility. The program started in 2007. A couple of things that surprised me about the numbers. In June of 2018, 289 borrowers were approved for public service loan forgiveness, yet 3 months later in September, only 206 of those approved borrowers had received forgiveness. While Fed Loan Servicing is the one who approves the applications for public service loan forgiveness, the Department of Education is the one who sends the notice to actually discharge the loan. That process can take some time. It's likely those 83 missing borrowers are simply waiting for the Department of Education to give the okay to discharge the loan. As a reminder, if you've applied for public service loan forgiveness, you need to continue to make your monthly payments on an eligible repayment plan and remain employed full-time for an eligible employer. The good news for borrowers is that while there may be a delay, the Department of Education will discharge the full loan amount remaining after 120 eligible payments. That means if you overpay because you had to make 3 months of payments while you waited, you'll get that money back. Next, I'd like to talk about the group of borrowers who got denied PSLF. Denial isn't necessarily the final word in a borrower's journey toward PSLF. 79% of applications were denied due to not meeting program requirements. I suspect a large number of PSLF denials actually represent more of a not yet type scenario. What I mean is this would happen if a borrower hadn't made all 120 eligible payments. Maybe they've only made 118 or 110, and so they have a few more payments left to make. Borrowers like that could qualify for loan forgiveness very soon, depending on the number of eligible payments they've made. Some of these denials really are of the heartbreaking kind. Some denials represent borrowers who didn't have eligible student loans. Most often, this is the scenario where a borrower had an older type of FFEL student loan that just wasn't eligible for forgiveness under the program. If it wasn't consolidated to the eligible direct consolidation loan, then it can't be forgiven. Borrowers in that scenario represent true denials. They would need to consolidate that debt into a direct consolidation loan and make 120 eligible payments while employed in eligible employment and still have a balance left to be forgiven. 29% of applications were denied due to missing information. It's possible that these types of denials could be remedied pretty simply. It really depends on what type of information is missing. If it was something simple like employment certification, the borrower could very quickly fill out the necessary form and get that information to the servicer. Let's take a look at the average amount of student loan debt forgiven under PSLF. If you even out the amount of loan forgiveness, it amounts to about $58,000 of student loan debt forgiven per borrower. This number suggests that borrowers who have had early success have higher student loan debt balances than expected. These borrowers might have some unique demographics. It's possible this group could represent a small subset of borrowers with higher levels of education, like master's and professional degrees. Think people like pharmacists or physicians. These types of folks have higher incomes and also higher amounts of student loan debt. This number suggests that PSLF might be doing a bad job capturing lower income, lower debt public servants such as teachers, police officers, and firefighters. These are, of course, speculations and my take on the data provided. Unfortunately, the PSLF report doesn't report loan forgiveness by profession or education background. So how does PSLF stack up compared to other federal loan forgiveness programs? I'll compare PSLF to teacher loan forgiveness and the borrower defense to repayment program. Teacher loan forgiveness offers up to $17,500 to qualifying teachers who teach in a qualifying low-income school. In 2009, which was the first year of documented loan forgiveness, teacher loan forgiveness provided forgiveness for 14,550 borrowers. In fiscal year 2017, they had provided forgiveness for over 42,000 borrowers. Unfortunately, the teacher loan forgiveness report doesn't provide any information about the number of applicants, so it's difficult to see what kind of approval rate teacher loan forgiveness had, and tough to compare to the approval rate of PSLF. But I have to imagine the approval rate is significantly higher than 1%. The Borrower Defense to Repayment program offers a discharge of student loan debt for borrowers if a college or university misled them or in the event of school closure. 2016 was the first time the program really became widely utilized in the wake of several for-profit school closures. As of September 2018, over 47,000 borrower claims were approved under the Borrower Defense to Repayment program. Of those approvals, about 31% of them have received partial discharge of their student loan debt. As you can see, PSLF is not stacking up very well compared to other programs. And the fact that it's a government-run forgiveness program doesn't seem to really be a very good excuse for why it's not working. As evidenced by teacher loan forgiveness and the Borrower Defense to Repayment program, federal loan forgiveness programs can work, but there's something going on with PSLF. Let's talk about the problems with PSLF. I think the biggest problem PSLF faces is that there has been poor communication to borrowers, which led to the mismanagement of expectations. When PSLF was first announced in October of 2007, it promised forgiveness to public servant workers after they had spent 10 years in public service. In reality, it's quite a bit more nuanced than that. Borrowers have to have the right type of student loans. Borrowers have to be on the right type of repayment plan. Borrowers need to work for an eligible employer, and borrowers need to make 120 eligible payments. The employment certification form was the first opportunity borrowers had to fill something out that confirmed that they were in eligible employment and allowed them to track their progress toward PSLF. This form wasn't released until 2012, an entire 5 years after the announcement of the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. All evidence points to the fact that the nuances of the PSLF program have been poorly communicated to borrowers, and many borrowers have been unaware of the nuances that are keeping them from loan forgiveness. The second issue this highlights is that there are simply too many rules for PSLF. One of the most devastating rules has been the fact that only direct loans are eligible for forgiveness under PSLF. Many borrowers have an older type of student loan called FFEL loans. These loans aren't eligible for PSLF unless they're consolidated into a direct consolidation loan. It's a simple fix, consolidating the loans, but it's just another step that borrowers can miss out on eligibility for PSLF. An important note here: if you have direct loans and you have already been making eligible payments on those loans toward PSLF, if you consolidate those loans, you have to start all over at 120 payments. Basically, if you've already made eligible payments on your direct loans, do not consolidate or you have to start all over. The intricacy of one borrower being able to consolidate their FFEL loans to become eligible for PSLF, while another borrower could consolidate already eligible loans and have to restart their 120 payments, is unnecessarily complex. I think all types of federal loans, with the exception of Perkins loans because they already have pretty good cancellation terms, should be eligible for PSLF. Consolidation is a step that's tripping up borrowers and adding extra paperwork and processing for the Department of Education. It should be eliminated. What do you think? Are you counting on PSLF? And if you are you nervous that so few borrowers have actually gotten forgiveness in the first year? Let me know in the comments below. As always, if you liked this week's video, please give me a like and hit that subscribe button. There's a new video every Wednesday. We'll see you guys next week. Bye!